Hey guys, welcome back. Right now in the notes, I want to jump to multiplying a polynomial by a polynomial, or it's more specifically a binomial times a binomial. So our example that we have is actually if I had x plus 4, let me get the pen going here. Hold on. If I had x plus 4 times x plus 3. Okay, so we have a binomial times a binomial. We're going to use a method called FOIL, F-O-I-L. Okay, and this is what you'll get in the habit of using for anytime you have a binomial times a binomial. And what it stands for is first, outer, inner, and last. Okay, you're saying, what does that mean? All right, FOIL. So what it means is we're going to take the first term of each of the binomials and multiply them together. So x times x is x squared. Okay, our outer would be the two outer terms, meaning the 3 is on the outside of the near the parentheses and the x. So these are the outers. So you would have x squared, then plus 3x. Then the inner would be the two inner terms, okay? 4 times x would be 4x, okay? And then last would be the two last terms. So 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so first, outer, inner, last. When we do that then, to combine like terms right here in the middle, many times the inner and the outers combine, and right there we just add them. 3x and 4x is 7x. So we end up with x squared plus 7x plus 12. Okay, so that would be our final answer. There are other ways you can do it. You can just double distribute. You're going to get the same answer, but the foiling method actually is pretty handy, and you get into the habit of doing it, especially as we go further down the road and we learn how to factor, which is basically where we take x squared plus 7x plus 12 and we break it apart into x plus 4 and x plus 3. So we want to get good at foiling. Okay, so in our notes, if you look at the notes, you'll see a binomial times a binomial, double distribute, then combine your like terms, okay? All right, so then the same thing when we just did some examples with the binomial times a trinomial, we double distribute and then we combine like terms. So in this case, and I showed you, I'd rather have you take each of the terms and just double distribute. So let's get a color here. So this would be x times x squared minus 4x plus 5, and then plus a 3 times x squared minus 4x plus 5. Okay, so we double distribute, and then we multiply x to the third minus 4x squared plus 5x plus 3x squared minus 12x plus 15. Okay, so now we're not done because we've got to combine our like terms, so we'll get x to the third minus x squared, and then our 5x minus we got a 5x minus a 12x is a negative 7x, and then we have our 15. Okay, and notice I start at the highest degree and I go down. If we have a binomial and we're squaring it, and this is where a lot of kids accidentally will come up with something like, oh, this will be 4x squared plus 1, because they're just trying to take each of the terms and multiply it by itself. But what they need to do, what you really need to do, is take 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. All right, and now we're going to FOIL it. So first would be 4x squared. Our outer would be 2x times 1, which would be 2x. Our inner would be 2x, and then we have a plus 1. So we call this middle term here. So we've got 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. So if you just tried to square each of the terms, you wouldn't end up getting the middle term. So you need to actually take the binomial and write it twice and then double distribute or FOIL. Now same thing with binomial to the third, write it 3 times, double distribute, combine like terms. So you're going to start out with maybe what we had up here. We did 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1, and we got 4x squared plus 4x plus 1, and then we're multiplying it again by 2x plus 1. Okay, so all I did here was I knew that 2x plus 1 squared is 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. Now I'm going to double distribute again, and when I do that, I'll get 8x to the third. 2x times 4x is going to be 8x squared, and then we have a plus 2x. Okay, and then we multiply by 1. We're actually going to add, and you can do it right underneath it, 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. Okay, so now when we combine our like terms, they're lined up, and we get 8x to the third plus 12x squared plus 6x plus 1. Okay, so we're going to try some of these. All right, looking at 34, 35, and 36, I'm just going to FOIL. So my first would be, and a lot of times I just like to make little lines. So x times 2x is 2x squared. My outer would be 5x. My inner would be negative 16x. And my last would be negative 40. Now, when I combine my like terms right here in the middle, 2x squared minus 11x minus 40. Okay, 35, my first would be 2x squared. Outer would be negative 12x. Inner, positive 9x. And then your last, negative 54. Combine your like terms, and we're going to get 2x squared minus 3x minus 54. All right, for 36, my first would be 12x squared. My outer would be negative 28x. Inner would be 9x. And last would be negative 21. Whoops, running out of space. So now when I combine my like terms, I'd have 12x squared minus 19x minus 21. Okay, so why don't you pause the video here and try some of these on your own, and when you come back, we can check them. So 37 would have 10x squared minus 35x plus 6x minus 21, which would be 10x squared minus 29x, okay, minus 2. Oh, minus 21, sorry. Minus 21. Okay, 38, our first would be 12x squared, our outer negative 21x, inner negative 20x, and then last would be 35. So 12x squared minus 41x plus 35. All right, 39, you'd get 7x squared minus plus your outer would be x times 1, which would be x. And then you'd get, oh, my pen is not working. Let's see, there we go. Then a negative 63x minus 9. So this would be 7x squared minus 62x minus 9 after you combined your like terms. Okay, for 40, I'm actually going to write this out as 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. So your first would be 4x squared. Your outer would be 10x. Your inner would be 10x, and your last would be 25. 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. Again, I'm going to take 3x minus 2, and I'm going to write it out twice. My first would be 9x squared. My outer would be negative 6x. My inner would be negative 6x, and my last would be 4. So 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. Okay, and then 42, we'd get 3x squared. Outer would be 24x. Inner would be negative 7x minus 56. So we've got 3x squared plus 17x minus 56. Okay, so if you want, you can just, for the rest of them, I would suggest trying them and then going back and checking the key that's on Student View. So we're going to end the video here at this point. Okay.